Okay, great. So, hello everybody. And tonight we're gonna have Eva, an ex-student of the Master in Luxury Management. That I really thank you. Thank you, Eva, for participating to this career talk. And she's gonna talk us a little bit more about the brand management world, I would say, and her path, but I would like her to present herself. So thank you very much, Eva, for being with us tonight.
Hi, welcome. Nice to meet you all. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I miss Monaco a lot. So I'm really happy to meet everybody, meet everybody. So I'm German originally. I studied in Switzerland hospitality, and then I did a master in Monaco for luxury retail management. And then I actually moved to Dubai. I did an internship in Dubai in the luxury retail world. And then I started working in it, worked for a little bit in a financial company for marketing, and then came back to the luxury retail world. And yeah, I'm still here since 2014.
Well, not bad at all. Few years. Well, so thanks, great. We can go through some questions, and I really invite all the attendees, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them on the Q&A or in the chat, so we can ask Eva to answer you. So I would like, first of all, to ask you about your position and your role, if you can explain us a little bit more about it.
So I'm actually working for a company called Altair. It's one of the biggest luxury companies in Dubai and in the region. So they're handling a lot of different brands. We have department stores, we have F&B portfolio, we have high-end jewelry, fashion, so a lot of different brands, just to name a few. We have Bloomingdale's, Harvey Nichols, Boucheron, Armani, Magnolia Bakery on the F&B side, Diptyque, Pomellato, so a lot of different brands, just to name a few. And before that, I actually worked for Chaloup, for also a company that also has a lot of luxury and high-end brands. So my current position in this company is that I'm part of business development. Business development, our department is fairly new. It's like 2.5 years old for now. And it was born out of a necessity that all of our marketing departments don't have the time necessarily or the capacity to look for new opportunities to develop the business and to look for new chances, new collaborations, things like that. So right now, me personally, I'm taking care of the department stores, Harvey Nichols and Bloomingdale's mainly. And I'm also helping with Boucheron more on the marketing, but also business development side. Yep, this is my main concern.
Okay, I see. So in terms of brand management, it is extremely various, your task. So it could be an event, it could be a collaboration. In business development could be like different kind of activities.
Exactly. So like, for example, just to give you a few examples to make you understand what we're doing, we have a partnership also with Dubai Police, where we give a special discount to the employees of the Dubai Police. They get a special card, which we don't do too often, but specifically for these employees, we did that. Or we have a special collaboration with Abu Dhabi Retail, where the government actually gives us an extra budget and supports any kind of activations or events we want to do. So things like that, events, but also marketing or pop-up opportunities. We have dedicated spaces in the department stores where we maybe get a small local brand to take over the space for 1 or 2 months, things like that.
Okay, that's great. Very interesting. I mean, extremely dynamic, I would say. And what about your previous path? Because you mentioned the fact that you didn't join only brand management companies. So how it was your path after your studies?
So for me personally, I really enjoyed Monaco. I love to study there. It was like a dream. But of course, you're going to ask yourself where you want to go. And especially in terms of luxury, I mean, you have the obvious destinations in the world where you're like, oh, I could see myself working there. And me personally, I thought Dubai was great. It was still growing. It is still growing to this date. So I really don't regret coming here. And then I heard through a friend actually that they're looking for an intern in my previous company in Chaloup. So I actually sent my CV to this friend, and then somehow I got the internship. And actually, I was very happy about it. I was like, okay, I'm going. I had another internship opportunity in Milan and another one in New York, and then one more in Germany. But I decided, why not? I'm going to do it in Dubai. So I went to Dubai. I started working for the company. Then from being an intern, I became a full-time employee, which they do a lot, especially in the region. Once you're an intern, it's very easy to switch to be a full-time employee because they already know you, they already know how you work. So it's very, very easy. And then I did that. Then after some time, I said, oh, let me have a new challenge. Let me go more towards the finance world. I did marketing for the finance company as well. And I'm like, no, 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 my heart is in luxury. So I came back to the luxury companies.
Okay, I see. And well, you mentioned that it was also thanks to a friend of yours. So I would love I would love to understand, in your opinion, I mean, if the networking is so much important, comparing to obviously also the technical skills in order to build a career path.
No, you need both, definitely. I mean, you cannot live with only one or the other. If you're perfect at doing all your work, but you don't have any relationships, I mean, it doesn't work. Luxury is all about building relationships, all about seeing new opportunities, having access to certain opportunities that you usually wouldn't get. So it's a mixture. But then also, once you have that opportunity for an event or for any kind of development, you need to understand how to use it. So you need to have that experience. Experience is really, really important. You need to build it slowly. And me personally, I feel like from Monaco, what was so great about studying in Monaco, to relate the experience to that, is that you have such a wide access of events, of we did a trip to Milan. We saw so many different luxury brands. We had an insight that I personally, as a private person, would have not been able to get. So you build that connections in Monaco already, and then you just take them on to when you work later. Or another good example is now in March, in beginning of March, here we had the expo in Dubai, and Annalisa from Monaco, she organized an event, and I actually met some people that work in Dubai also in the industry, and I already used some of the contacts. I called them back. I said, oh, I need the management of Dubai Mall. Can you help me? I'm looking for this specific person, and I managed to get it. So you need that network. It's very, very important.
Sure, sure. So the fact you said that, I mean, in Monaco's for sure, networking is something pillar, I would say, because of the dimension and the nature of the city and the country, because it's actually a country. So I would like to understand if the choice of IUM in the past was also influenced by Monaco itself.
100%. It's the location itself, because there's several universities where you can study luxury, you can have an insight on luxury, but the actual studies is a part of it, but the experience around it is so important. Like in Monaco, we had access at that time. We did the opening of the yacht club. We did I was at the Rolex Masters. It's so many different things. So Monaco itself is just, it's such a dense area and such a crazy amount of luxury in terms of business, in terms of people. So 100%.
Okay, no, that's very interesting. And which were other reasons why you choose to join the Master in Luxury Management? Why did you choose in the end this course instead of another one? Not only for Monaco, I suppose. So why this master?
So First of all, in general luxury, I feel like you need to have a passion. If you just do it because you think, oh, maybe I want to earn money or any of the, it doesn't work. You need to have a passion for it. And in Monaco, because actually I knew somebody that studied in the university before me, a few years before, and then I spoke to that person, and I came to the open day previously, like 3 years before that. But then I first did my bachelor somewhere else, and then I came for my master, and I just really, really liked how the teachers and the students interacted together, how it was not too massive that you get lost and you don't have these personal relationships anymore. So from what I saw, and then when I came back 3 years later, I was like, I really want to go to Monaco. Like for me, it was a decision that was very easy to make. I compared the masters also, but I really like that you're on such a small space, the university and the surroundings. So you have that very personal approach. I still have contact with Annalisa on a regular basis. So I like it. I'm very happy about that.
That's great. And yeah, pretty unique. I completely agree with you. So we have a couple of questions already. So the first one is, did the people Eva directly works with also study something similar, or is she the only one in this department that study luxury management or comparable studies?
So because I'm working in quite a big company, we have a few thousand people. I'm not even sure how many. There's so many because we have different departments. We have also travel and motors and real estate. So there are actually people who studied in the same field or even in the same university, because when we just had the event in the expo, I met one girl. She actually sits one floor below me, and she's a buyer for one of the brands. And I said, I didn't know you studied in Monaco. And she's like, I didn't know either. So
crazy.
You meet people that actually studied. Of course, there's a lot of people who didn't study in Monaco or didn't study luxury. Maybe they did hospitality or business management or anything like that. But I definitely met people who studied in Monaco or in general in luxury.
Okay, the main part probably in the luxury field. Yeah, okay. And then we have another one, which is pretty interesting, which was your favorite event to attend or work on during your time at IUM?
100% the opening of the yacht club, because it was so massive. Because I mean, the yacht club is so famous in Monaco, and they opened a new building. It was 2014, I think, and we were given the chance that we help with the build-up of the event. So we were actually helping a little bit with the organization, and the girls were like kind of the hostesses. We were giving out some of the scarves and so on. But then after the welcoming of the guests, we could attend the party, and this was great. I mean, it's an opportunity that I will never get again in my life for such a big event, but very exclusive. And also for Formula One, actually, we were part of one of the lounge parties, which was really nice as well.
Yeah, I can absolutely believe it. So then, well, this is a little bit more in detail, but anyway, we have the question, do you know of any internship at your company? So I do not know if you can share this information, if you know about it.
Very easy, very simple. That's why there's so many people coming to Dubai, because it really doesn't matter where you're from, you can get a visa. The company applies for your visa when you apply here, when you get that internship. So it's not like in Europe where you're like, oh, you know, you have such a huge disadvantage if you're not European. Like it's hard to get an internship. In Dubai, it doesn't matter, because as long as you have that internship, as the company gives you that opportunity, they will do all your formalities and they will do the visa. So for them, it doesn't matter. For them, it matters like what did you study and what kind of internship you're applying for and how you do in the interview. The nationality.
So it doesn't matter where people come from. Also, non-European can easily have the chance to get an internship in Dubai.
In Dubai, we are here 95% foreigners. So it's a mix of everything, no problem at all. Okay. That is not an issue.
That's great to know, especially for non-European people, because sometimes obviously people are afraid about that part, but I mean, it's great. And what about your company? Do you know if there's any internship available now if I don't know, the people, what do you suggest to the people who are attending this session? Maybe to ask for the connection to HR of your company on LinkedIn. Could it be an idea?
Of course, like you can look for the HR connection on LinkedIn, but actually I would recommend you to go directly on their website, Altair, and then also on my previous company's website, because the company is also really good. My previous company had brands like Ralph Lauren, Sephora, oh my God, there's so many, Farfetch, like so both of these companies that I worked with, they're really, really well known in the industry. Definitely go on LinkedIn, definitely go on their own career homepage. And yeah, if you want, I don't mind, you can contact me as well. You can give out my contact if you want. If I see, and if any of the people that are in this session and they see one specific position that they're looking for in terms of an internship, I don't mind, I can check internally maybe who's responsible for it, and they can send me their CV and I can pass it on. I don't mind, I really don't mind.
Thank you very much.
If the CV will be like what they're looking for, obviously it needs to fit, then I don't mind.
Thank you.
I know it's super hard to find an internship. I was asking everybody.
Me too, huh? The same. No, thank you very much. It's very kind. So we have another question more regarding the luxury branding in practice. So how do you balance the fine line of attracting clients and customers and expanding but still remaining exclusive, not diluting the brand equity? I mean,
yeah, that's always the paradox of luxury, because for us it's so hard, like the higher the brand is in luxury, to not dilute your brand and then become like not desirable anymore. So that's always, you need to keep the balance. Like for example, for Boucheron, for us, our high jewelry, the brand I'm working on, we have actually limit quantity of how many pieces we have of certain styles, and we don't sell more. Like we just don't. The store, even me personally, I'm working for the brand, and some of the things I'm like, oh, I would love to have these earrings. And like, okay, you can wait 6 months. I was like, I'm working for you, how come, you know? But this is really hard. So for example, when you look at brands like Gucci had such an insane influx like 5-6 years ago with the whole design and everything, and now they're having an issue. They're having a success hangover, you know, like they were so successful, but in such a short amount of time that it's easy for them to fall off that trend again, right? So it's much harder to keep on top for a longer time than to have a one-day success and then just die off. No, it's really hard, definitely. All the brands are trying to manage it. If you look at Chanel, they raised their prices so much because they're trying to stay on top, because so many people bought the bags, and then they started a quota. You can only buy the bags every 3 months, and all of these brands. It's really hard. And then of course to be profitable at the same time.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
It's a very fine line.
Yeah, I can believe it. Well, and since we are already talking about branding, I had a question. Is there a way to understand that a brand will be successful? Because it's easy to tell it when it is already a successful brand, but how to think about the future, how to recognize that potential successful brand?
So there's so many factors involved. It's the same as starting your own business. If you would want to do that, there's so many factors that need to be in the right time, in the right place. So as a brand, of course, you need to hit the sense of time. Maybe something, your idea that you have right now is not working, but maybe in 10 years it will work perfectly, who knows? So you need to have a huge amount of luck that you need to have everywhere in life. But also I believe that the management needs to be great. Like if the top of the people have a great vision and they believe in something very strongly, the chances of succeeding are much higher. Yeah, it needs to be in time. The trend needs to be there for the brand. It needs to have a great setup. That means like you need to have the funding for it. You need to have the right people working on it, and then it could be a success. There's still a million factors why maybe it will not be. So it's really hard. I mean, this is what everybody's trying to figure out, because if we know which brand would be hot in 5 years, everybody would invest in that brand. But you can only you can only make assumptions. So it's hard to tell. That's a part of the business, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. That's the toughest part, probably.
And then also, sorry, just to add to that, so in terms of business, when you look from a business perspective, all the malls, they think about who to give the best spaces. So they're also working on that, right? Like who to give the best spaces for selling, who to invest in. Us as a company, Altair, for example, we have so many different brands. Like, does it make sense to go into a joint venture or to have a certain kind of contract with a brand? Do we believe it's going to grow? Like, that's also, everything is about business, right? At the end of the day, you want to obtain a brand, you want to go into a relationship that you know, okay, in 5 years it's probably on top. Or some brands, you go into a partnership with them, and then there's a scandal for the creative director because maybe he or she made some comments that were not ethically correct or something like that. So you need to have luck, but also a very good team and funding.
And people, for sure,
The team needs to be like, there needs to be a vision. When you look at Visual Abloh with Off-White, he had a vision. He had such a strong vision that he went for it. I mean, it's a great example of a brand that became very successful in the recent times, not one of the big old houses.
The first thing is to have people who really believe in the project, have a vision.
The most important, passion. You need to have a lot of passion.
Okay, and concerning this part, what are the skills that, in your opinion, are needed to work in this kind of world, apart from the passion that we understood is the beginning of everything? If you think that there are other skills that would be useful.
I think you need to be very communicative because it's all about it's all about information and how you can adapt to different markets and how you can organize yourself. So organization, besides passion, organization, communication. You need to be definitely a people's person because you need to bring different worlds together. And I speak from my personal experience. For us, it's also, we're here in the Middle East. We have obviously still traditional background, like you have some things and some aspects that you cannot get around. So you need to be able to adapt to that, but still make sure you're doing everything according to the brand's image, ethos, and so on. So I think you should also be able to present yourself. You should be flexible. You should be able to learn, to adapt to new information. Yeah, I think.
Okay, so no, it's very interesting because this is something that came up also yesterday night, still for the luxury world, more focusing on fashion and accessories, but still the communication and relationship part, to be a person open to other people. I mean, it's still very important. I mean, it's something that we have to deal with. So this is very interesting to know. And well, I had another question, which is in some way related to the one we received already. So which kind of background, in your opinion, is the best to then land in the brand management in this kind of industry? If you have any advice in terms of background.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the kind of studies or experiences. I don't know. Is it better to start already at the beginning from brand management, or could be interesting also for companies to have people with a kind of a mix and various background? Or
so I mean, I think it obviously also depends on the department you're looking at. I mean, maybe if you're looking into a financial department, you don't necessarily need to have a brand management background. But if you're looking in terms of business development, what I'm doing, or marketing, or these things, you need to know the industry. I think it's also important that you look at the region, that you understand the different regions, because China might be very, very different from the US or from Europe, for example. So I think it's obviously good if you start looking at the path that you're passionate about. So if you study that, it makes sense you want to end up there. Even though for my bachelor, for example, I studied hospitality, but I wouldn't say it's super far off. It's still related in a way. So it makes sense to study it, obviously, if you want to do it, because during studies, you have a much bigger exposure to different aspects that you might not have working later. Like, for example, during studies, we had a course about buying. I remember that time we had the buyer of Bottega Veneta, and she showed us all this Excel sheet with all the buying and the different aspects of, okay, we need to buy this might be the trend, but there's not enough space to display this many shoes, so you need to lower your number of shoes. So for me, buying, I'm not working in buying, but with having that knowledge from my studies, it's important because you understand much more when you then have to work together with the different departments on that. So it was definitely good. Or CRM as well. In Monaco, we had a CRM course. They were explaining to us how they communicated to the customer about the car, I think it was Ferrari, and how they actually used the database in order to sell that car. And like, it's very interesting. So you learn all these different historical aspects, I can say, and then you can use them for what you do later.
Sure, to collect different kind of input that then you can reshape in some way in your...
Sometimes you realize when somebody doesn't come from that background, like some aspects they might not understand as quickly as if you would study it. Like, definitely there's things that I just know because of what we learned.
Sure, very clear. And what about one of the biggest challenges that you faced, if you have like any, you think is that one was actually...
So I can tell you overall in our region, because I live in Dubai and I'm speaking from my perspective, definitely the biggest challenge is to make the luxury world and the brands, because we work with so many different brands, understand how the consumers act here. Even we have so many foreigners, but there's certain rules we have to follow. For example, I was working like 5 years ago with Replay, the jeans brand. They were having advertisements with nothing else but a jeans on. We can't put these on the outdoor as an outdoor advertisement because the models are half naked. So, and they have to understand, right now is Ramadan, for example, even though in my daily life it doesn't change much, but events, you cannot hold them during the day because people just won't come. People during the day, they're fasting, they don't have energy to go out. So it doesn't make sense to conduct an event during that time. Or so to align the brand with the way of thinking there's here, or with the limitations you have here, it's really important. And I would say that's a constant challenge that is always there. Or print media, I mean, even now and nowadays world, print media is not really existent anymore in that sense, but here not at all, because in Paris you have so many pedestrians. For example, people buy magazines still when they pass by a kiosk. Here we don't have that. We don't have pedestrians, basically. We don't have small kiosks where you buy magazines. We don't have that. So to make the brand understand, okay, we should not invest so much into the print media, it's better for other things. Or campaigns, certain campaigns, they might not work because the culture is just different. So this is the main challenge I'm facing still, and I think it gotten much better because some of the brands even do capsule collections or special campaigns for the region, which is great, and now they slowly understood. But yeah, this is definitely the biggest challenge.
Okay, I see. So it's more in terms of place where you actually work.
Yeah, definitely, because the rest, I mean, it doesn't matter where you work, but if you're kind of flexible, of course you have sometimes surprises or challenges in the job, but that's everywhere. Like, everywhere you have to work with different people and you have to get around different personalities. But I would say, from my personal experience, it's definitely the cultural aspect, which is interesting, but you need to have that understanding.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And on the other side, which is a best practice that you would like to share? I mean, that you saw in your, previous path, also any other else, a best practice that you remember?
Oof, that's a hard I don't know, because there's so many like good aspects, but it's honestly, it's really hard to say. Like, for us, I don't know, I really cannot pinpoint one thing. I'd maybe say here I'm very happy with the flexibility of people, just because you have so many different people from different backgrounds. You don't only have French, only this. So it's very good how they work together, but best practice, I really cannot tell, because also my role is so diverse because of business development. It's really hard to pinpoint one thing to say, okay, this is amazing, like everywhere they should do this or they should have this. It's very hard. I think it's quite important you have a good boss.
That way.
So,
I can believe
if you
it.
have the person you're working for is amazing, which isn't the case for me. So I mean, you have a lot of empowerment, and you have a lot of, they give you a lot of strength, and everything is
Yeah, the
good.
motivation, I think, also the support. I mean, the boss is for sure a fundamental element, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how concerning the studies and the word of the job, how IUM helped you in then landed in the world of the job in the luxury industry? I mean, in which way IUM, a part of the skills, gave you a support?
So first of all, I don't know if it's still the same, but when I was there, Annalisa is like a superstar. She was doing a crazy networking job. I think she knows the whole world. So,
Yeah.
so
for the people who are connected and do not know, Annalisa is the program director.
Yeah, she was crazy. So, I mean, but not only her, there were so many good teachers that actually also had such a rich experience. Like when I was speaking to them, of course, not everybody, but like for the ones that I liked and connected with, they were amazing. So IUM, what's the best thing about IUM for me personally is access. You get access, you can learn so much about the luxury world, about reading. You can go on Business of Fashion and you can read literally all of their articles, and you will maybe have all the background knowledge. But in terms of access, getting to know people, networking, it's just, I don't know with what you could compare IUM, because this is what makes IUM special for me personally. Okay. The location and the networking. You have the access. Very simple. Yeah. Everybody's connected in Monaco. So if you go to one teacher and you say, oh, I heard you worked for this or this brand before, do you mind helping me getting in touch with a person in the headquarters there? And they will help you, because I mean, they're happy to help you. They're happy to connect you. So this is for sure. Networking is number one in Monaco. It's really, really good.
That's great. So access to people, to events, to companies, that's very interesting. Yes.
Knowledge is good. Knowledge you can learn, but there's so many universities, there's good schools, there's so many sources of knowledge in terms of the digital world we have, that you can learn a lot there. But there's some things you cannot learn online. Where's the added
value? I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I completely understand. That's great. Yeah, that's the human dimension of the school, of the country. I mean, it's a real support in what you just said. And what about, I have a question more related to the industry. In your opinion, which kind of advertising do you think fit the best? You already said that probably the printed, it's gonna become a little bit old-fashioned. So is there any marketing also activity or advertising that you think will be really the next level for brand management and branding and luxury?
So I think, first of all, you need to understand that which brand you are talking about. If you have a high jewelry brand, you have a very different kind of marketing and advertising approach than if you have a fashion brand, or like more a mass approach from a fashion brand. So you need to understand the difference. You need to know exactly who you are targeting, because I feel a lot of people do the mistake that they're just trying to do anything to get exposure and to get people to know your brand, but then they get lost, because you cannot just have an Instagram campaign and think, oh, okay, great, people will see it. Okay, but you want to have people that have a reaction to your advertising. So you actually really need to make sure it's tailor-made for the brand you have. So I cannot tell you, oh, is there one certain channel that you go through that is for the future? I cannot tell you that because it depends on the brand. But of course, I mean, digitally it's already so out there, but it will not go away. We definitely need to look more and more at digital. And what I would say, what is moving more towards the direction that there is more interaction in the digital world. Like, for example, now they have certain brands where you have the shopping bag and you scan it with your phone and it starts, it's augmented reality, it starts moving. Or maybe we will soon have a pop-up where there's actually just a white space. And then you can scan it with your phone and you actually see an animation of which items there are in store. And then you have a sales consultant with you and you ask them which items or outfits that are put together on your screen, you can try them on. So it's more like the border between the digital and the real world are really, they're not clear anymore. So that we need to really look into, I think, and that augmented reality or even any kind of animations, these are the things that become more and more important, but in everywhere, not only in luxury.
Sure. That's yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very interesting. The next level of digital in some way.
And also, if you look at a very, very high-end brand, like for example, jewelry, you don't take this mass approach. You go much more personal. So in terms of marketing, you go much more into the personal world where you have that relationship and you keep on having that relationship. So you do much more personal activations for the clients. Some brands fly the clients to Europe in a private jet, even depends on the budget, obviously, but like they do these kind of experiences, or they make them have access to historical sites that usually you cannot enter with a tour guide that speaks your language, things like that. You have these kind of activations, this kind of very personal marketing, and then more for department stores, pop-ups, and so on, that maybe...
Yeah, the experience probably is still...
It goes very much into experience, yeah.
Yeah, I see. And well, in terms of branding, what about self-branding? For example, do you use social media and social network to promote yourself and your professional image, or not? What do you think?
Me personally not, but I'm also not a face of the brand to the outside world directly. Me, I'm in business development. We are looking for opportunities to grow the business. We are meeting with new companies and we are making different connections, and the actual execution lies with somebody else. So for us, we're more looking for these new ways. But I know a lot of people that do. I'm especially when it comes to sales assistants from the stores, it became, especially in the last 2-3 years, very, very popular for them to have accounts that are dedicated to their profession. You have Michael Cost in Paris in MS, he's huge on Instagram. We have here, the marketing manager of MS, she's on Instagram, and her name is actually like, it has part of MS in her name. So they really, really use it, and it actually works really well because people follow these people because they know they work for the brand, so they're at the source of the trend or the new collection or what's happening or the events. So it actually became more and more important, and as a brand, it is really, really a big thing.
Okay, so it actually can work. It depends on the role,
100%.
The personality, but can be useful.
100%. But you need a person that really lives the brand, you know, that is able to represent the brand in a way that is appropriate.
Sure. It's kind of in between the professional and the personal life. So absolutely.
But usually this profile they're using is for their profession. Then they have another profile, which is just for their friends and family, but usually they use it as a professional profile. And here in the region, especially, everything works with phone numbers. Like in Germany, for example, there is a very high data protection laws, and in regards to data protection, here in the region, everything works with phone numbers. So you are on WhatsApp with all these sales assistants. WhatsApp is used for everything, and they use your phone number everywhere. So it's very important, yeah.
Yeah, I see. And well, I have one last question, which is if you have any already future goal, any professional future idea ready?
So right now, in terms of the role I have and the experience I can collect in this role, I'm really happy because I have great people that I'm working with. I get exposed to so many different brands. But of course, I mean, in terms of my later career objectives, I have for me personally 2 brands that I would love to work with, but I don't really want to share them. That's just my personal view. So
Sure.
that everybody needs to decide for themselves, because your personality should match the brand you have the goal to work with. So I know that at one point in life, for now, I'm very happy and I want to stay for some time for sure in the company, because there's so much to learn also. But after that, for sure, I want to work for these brands, and yeah, also in business development or in marketing for sure, because
That's great.
passion.
I mean, also the fact that you just said that in some way you also need to fit with the brand. So
Yeah.
your personal brand and the final brand of destination. So
you can't market something, or you can't like work for it with your consciousness and your knowledge clean if you just don't really like the brand. I mean, I worked with some brands before that was not really my favorite brands, and it's hard to really be passionate about it, because just, you know, maybe you don't like the company culture, you don't like their collections, it's just not your style. So that's different. So one brand I worked before with was Loewe, and it was amazing. They flew me to see all the production line, to see all of their workshop in Spain, and it was just so fascinating. Like it was actually really fun to work with them. Now I'm working with the different department stores. What's great about it is that you have so many different brands. Like you see the difference between the branding from maybe a Chinese brand to maybe a more obtainable brands. All these aspects is it's really, you need to live it, and you need to really enjoy that.
yeah, that's true. Very interesting. Well, so I would say that, I mean, we already had a few questions, and I really would like to thank you, Hiva, for your time, for being with us today. We really appreciate it. So thanks a lot from IUM, and I would like also to thank all the participants of this session tonight, and we hope to see all of you very soon. Thank you very much, Eva.
No problem. No more questions, yeah?
No more questions, apparently. Then if you have any, guys, as Eva already kindly said, you can contact her on LinkedIn, and also for what concerns IUM, you can absolutely contact me anytime.
I think if I would say one more thing as an advice, I guess, would be to understand what the different departments in each company do exactly. Because, for example, as you know, like marketing and business development are 2 different things. So what do you have more interest in? It's good to try to understand the different departments, so you actually pursue that path that you like, because a lot of people, I feel, they do something because they don't really understand what is behind it. So I think that's quite important, and that also you will understand best if you talk to the people that work in it. And it's like this, it's very easy. And also the difference between working for a company that has several brands like Altair or Chaloup or any of these big companies, instead of working maybe for one very big brand. So there's also a huge difference. So if you have interest in it, I can tell you more about it, but I think our time's up.
No, thank you very much. Absolutely. Thanks a lot. And thanks to all the participants of tonight. It was extremely interesting, as usual, to get inspirations from different kind of paths. And really, thanks for sharing all this with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody, and good luck for your future, and do whatever you like to do the most.
Yeah, that's the best advice. I absolutely agree.
And enjoy Monaco. The time as a student will never come back.
Yeah, that's also right. Thank you very much, Eva. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye to everybody. Thanks. Thank you.